Well, there you are, and welcome back with me to the Space Engineers as the host Romedy. Today we need to get to it. We have a lot to do in this episode. Today, as I promised to you, as you look around, you see we're nearing completion here on our flight base so that we can put the small miner and the small builder in here's into a nice little place instead of sticking them here on the outside of the ship as I have been doing so far. But what we've got to do today is step number one. We need to get the door in here. I tell you right now, it's not the door that I originally wanted. It's a door that's a little bit simpler, and I tell you what, in the big picture, the long run, probably is good idea that we put easier door in here. Everybody go ahead and understands it a little better than the hard one. We do the hard one later on bigger project, but yeah, so I need to get the door on here first, and then after the door is on, we must put the rest of the ceiling. We must handle the lighting that's going to go on in here, and then obviously we must play around with the conveyor system running here in and through the rest of the ship so that we can go ahead and get these guys hooked in, and then I think, yeah, we probably, at least immediately, we'd be done. Now you see I have done a little bit of removing back here on the back of this guy. This is the next project, but I just leave him cryptically. I just leave him there for right now. So, okay, well, let's get to it then. So we need a rotor. First things that we need is here the rotor. We're going to talk about this guy at length here in just a moment. The big one right here, you notice when I spin him around so he's facing it this way, do you notice that there are already the numbers here? We has the coordinate plane basically laid out under the rotors, which is a good thing. You notice I has the 0 pointing straight down. That's kind of the default setting, at least on the rotor when we start off. We're going to fix that here in a moment, but yeah, so we go 0 down, and then of course it is the wrong ways because, oh, I need some more of the steel plates, it look like. How many more of these plates I need? We need many. You know what, I just go get plates. Yeah, you notice that the coordinate plane, the 90 degrees going the wrong way, that is sort of okay for us, at least right now in the shorter run. We need to be aware of that when we are actually setting things up on the rotor for what we want it to do. So. Okay, so there our rotor is in place now. So here 0 points are down and 90 degrees are going to point out here to the left. So let's go actually set in here with the rotor. Let's go play. The refinery is making a little bit of noise, so sorry about that. So let's just go down here then. What we need is the rotors. So let's come back up. We need a rotor. Oh, I'm into interior lights now. There's rotor right there. Okay, so this is the rotor menu. I can toggle block on and off. I can rename him like every other thing, which we are going to do. We're going to rename this the flight bay door. Easy enough. So reverse just means the rotor is going to run. Detach means the head of the rotor is going to be removed from everything. We don't want to do that just yet. So the torque, as the little thing reads here, this is how fast the rotor is going to accelerate. Well, you know what, I don't need it all that much, so we're just going to put it down here, say about 300 or so Newton meters. The braking, now braking is only going to be applied after the rotor has shut down. So after the rotor has hit the angle that it's headed for, the braking is how much is going to shut down. We want this to be quite appreciable with this. We don't want that door just kind of flapping around in the wind, if that make any sense. So, and now this is velocity in rotations per meter or per minute here. This is how quickly the rotor is going to accelerate from A to B, and we don't want it to go all that fast with our door right here. So we're going to set it down, maybe 2/3. Now over here you see the angle. This is the rotor just spinning around. The rotor is spinning because we have not set a lower and upper threshold for where the rotor can spin. So the 0 is important here. Remember that the zeros is where we was talking about. So we're going to set the low limit here. Look like we're only going to be able to set low limit at 1. Little wonky menu here. So this means the rotor will not be able to go beyond that 0. So when the door is closing, it will now shut in the bottom location, that down location. So now the upper limit is where we want it to go to, and this is going to be toward the 135. We want it to be something like 135 degrees. Now the rotor obviously is just spinning around right here. We're not really doing much with him. So it tells me that the current rotor is out of the limits. He's going to come back around and pass through the zeros. And then he will be within limits. And then he will be locked here within the limits. So we just walk. So again here, if you're having trouble kind of visualizing what do we do, torque is just how quickly that rotor is going to spin. How quickly it is going to accelerate up basically. Braking is how quickly the rotor is going to slow down after it has met the place that it wanted to go to. How quickly it's going to slow down after it meet the place we want to go. This is just how quickly that rotor going to spin. So if we want door to open very, very quickly, then we put high RPMs up here. If we're using the rotor for something that's not a door, you know, maybe we're throwing things into space, then we want high up here. For the door, we want it to be reasonably low. The low limit, that's basically 0 degrees. You saw how I oriented the rotor. That means that down here at 0 degrees is where the rotor will not pass. And then up here at 135 degrees, remember that the rotor 90 degrees went left, so 135 is up here. That is the other angle, so this door is going to swing between these 2 points, kind of like this with my mouse. And then this displacement, this just helps if we have block overlay, something where we're crushing a block and we need to move it. That's not going to be a problem here with us right now. So that means the rotor now is doing what we want him to do. He's now kind of nice and in there, and we don't have to worry about him. What we're going to do next here, we're going to go ahead and place a blast door, meaning we need to just kind of place the door here that is going to work. Now he's at 135 degrees, which is not where we want him. I should have thought about that before I went over there. We go back into the menu, we go back down here to the rotors. There is a way to do this where I do not have to deal with all of the refineries, but we worry about that later. If I now hit reverse, you're going to watch this number over here with the current angle. He's going to go down to 1. If I reverse this guy, so we have the acceleration up, we're just going to watch him. The rotor is going to be doing the spinnies. And actually, if I go over here and we watch the rotor, I think we can watch him do the spinny as well. Yep, there he goes. So I assume that after we get kind of down here, these two guys here are going to align themselves to the bottom. So as of right now, we can watch the block do the spinny with the rotor. That's kind of cool, huh? He's not oriented like we want him, though. Now he oriented like we want him. So we're going to go ahead and place him on there. And now the number 6 guy down here is going to be kind of the side of the blast door. And so we're going to want to go out along here kind of like this. Kind of like this. And right here, this guy is where we're going to want the corner block, I think. Now I do have the concerns here that, and this is where that displacement maybe come into play. This is where the block's going to run into each other and no longer work. So I tell you what we do. We'll go here, we pop into the builder ship. We're going to go ahead, turn on the grinder guy. We're going to just remove this layer here. All we're going to do is just remove this layer of block. Okay, almost done then. Uh-oh. You, down here, you needed to stay. So we go ahead, weld you back. Okay, there we go. So all of that now done. So let's come back up here. Ideally, like I said, we wanted this guy right here to be at the corner block. So we need to do the spinny on him. I'm not very good with spinning. There we go. I'm not too good with spinning these guys around just yet. So this no longer corner blocked in. This is going to be the down guy. And now if you see the theme with the ship here is that we has that white stripe. So on our doors, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and put the white stripe here, just to like that. While we well, I can't quite do it over here just yet, but that's okay. We go ahead, since I flew over here anyways, we just go ahead and do the spinny. Now you need to spinny around. Now previously you had been okay when I was testing all of this. There we go. That's what that's wanting right there. Okay, so let's go get to the color then. Hopefully. Okay, good. We have the color. And now let's go fix the blue guy here. Excellent. And now you need to be at the corner block down here. So let's do the spinny. Oh, I had him right. There we go. The spinny round. Oh, okay. So now here we has the number 4 guy again. Ah, there we go. And now we just come across with the blast door. And I think down here, okay, so I need one more like that, and now I need one more Like that. We has one more corner block to do. We just do the spinnies of him. I think that's right there. So now the number 5 guy is just going to be this heavy blast door here in the middle of everything. That ought to be, I think, pretty straightforward. I think this is heaviest block so far in game. I could be wrong about that, but he seems like he is the most dense anyway. And to be truthful, he may not be any different than the heavy steel plating. He may be just the same. But yeah, so here we has our door. So let's go ahead here then. We just go ahead here and we weld the guy up real quick. Actually, I say real quick, and it maybe take us longer than real quick to weld this guy. Still should not be all of that long though, so those things on the bottom sound like they're working. Okay, we go over again. So this door then, this is what we're going to use to rotate to open and close. And this is going to be how our little ships, our small ships, can get into the big guy. And so this door kind of important to what we're doing. Couple things we have to think about when we fly up to the ship here. We don't necessarily want to have to get out of the small ship to go manually operate at the door. And if you're like me and you play a solo game, you play by yourself, then you're not going to have another friend in the game who's going to be on that big ship and can go ahead and run the door for you. So what we need to do then is we need to have a way to operate this door from both of the small ships that we have. So that when we are out and trying to fly in, let's say we take the small ship out and for whatever reason the door closes behind us, instead of having to get out of our small ship to go operate the door, we want to be able to do it from the comfort of the small ship cockpit. And that is, I think, doable. We just we use, I think, an antennas, and that antennas, I think, we just want to run him onto the rotor there, and in that way we should, I think, be able to broadcast far enough that we can make it, so that if we in certain radius around the ship, then the small ships be able to run the door. So that's something that we want to think about. The next thing we want to think about too, we need to just the conveyor system, just hook the 2 ships into the big guy. That should be, I hope, pretty straightforward. It should be pretty easy to handle, I think. We've done that quite a lot already. This is not new concept. So I think that is pretty easy to handle. Okay, so here we go. The door here look like we're about to done with our doors. As soon as the welder guy get done. Okay, so there's our fancy blast door. He all built here now. He all built on to the ship. We has this little problem going on over here, but we're going to fix that in a fairly easy way, I think. We fixed that in a fairly easy way. So let's go ahead, turn those off so I do not die. Let's pop in here to the ships, and real quickly let's just make sure that we're going to be able to run the rotor here. So actually what I want to do then, since everything is kind of set up, we go down here to the blocks. What we're looking for is going to be the rotor guy, and so he probably down here a little bit. There he is. There's the bay door. Let's put the door up here on the 7. We can do tons and tons and tons of things with this block. We can do such and such and such a thing, but what we're actually going to do, we're just going to reverse him. So let's go ahead, reverse. Well, I thought that was going to be what works. I tell you what we do. The door, I think, probably now too heavy. We did not plan on the door being so heavy like that, and so we do not have enough of the torque, the initial accelerations for this guy, to go ahead and run. So we're going to kick our braking all the way up. We're going to kick our torque up as well. So let's go ahead and do a reverse on this guy now. Let's see if he's going to move. Does not seem like just yet. Let's kick our torque up a little bit more. There we go. Now the door is starting to run, but it's extremely slow, and we don't quite want that. Let's go find our rotors again. Okay, so we accelerate a little bit now, but still, let's move up. Let's move our thing up here a little bit more. I can deal with the door opening slowly, as he is right now. I can deal with him opening slowly, especially because when I has to apply our braking here, I don't want to break the door, break my ship apart on only the one rotor. So let's be very aware of that. We're going to kick up the torque just a little bit more. Just a little bit more, and I think that ought to probably be, now hopefully I'm not going to hit my guy with the door. That may be not such good ideas, huh? Okay, so he actually looked like he's going to do fine now. So we're going to go beyond up here. We're going to go beyond the threshold. We're going to end up at 135° up. So let's just watch the guy get to there, and let's make sure he stop okay, which I think he should. And it should be any moment here about now. There we go. Now see, he rebound a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of that rebound, but I cannot literally break him anymore from there. The way that we can fix that rebound is by turning the torque down a little bit, or by turning our RPM down a little bit, but then we has to be waiting for the door to do its thing. And you know, I am okay with that, but for the moment here, probably not a good thing to have to do. So okay, so one thing we want to think about is up here on top, how we're going to handle all of this. So here across the top, we're going to have, you know, we're going to have the blocks going on here. Now this guy right here, because we take him up to 135, we have to be careful with how we handle this blocker right here. And so we have to be a little bit, I think, creative now. So okay, well, let's go back down here then. Let's go ahead and close our door. Let's go ahead and close the guy on down. We should be able just to hit the number 7 now, and he's going to go ahead and do the rotation, which sure looks like he is. So we're in good shape here. One thing we can think about doing right in here, if we was worried about this door, we could go ahead and put the wheel right here, so he would just, the door would rotate on the wheel basically. However, in my experience, when playing around with the wheels, they is a little bit wonky and will sometimes work just fine, and then will sometimes break for no reason. And I'm not a huge fan of him breaking for no reason, so we're not going to do that just yet right there, I think. So okay, well, we have to think about what we do right here with this guy, and to be honest with you, I think it's a pretty easy decision to make. We're just going to come down here. We're going to get our 4 guy out, and with that 4 guy, no, not that 4 guy, this a 4 guy. What we're going to do then, we're just going to build a little bit the guy to go up like this, just like him. And then for this corner right here, we has this kind of interesting thing going on. And for right now, I don't know quite how to handle that corner because we have not handled this guy yet, and he's going to go across. So we are worried about that here in a moment. Now, almost I wonder here with this guy, if this on the inside needs to be a number 6 guy. And so we can do this looking a thing right there. And so far, I think I kind of okay with that. Okay, so let's come over here. We pop into our builder guy. We need to take a builder guy now onto the inside of the ships. We're getting close here. Look at that. We're getting close. We're now buried on the inside of the ship here. And let's just go ahead and weld this guy in here real quick. It's not ideal, maybe, and you know, perhaps there is better solution over here on this side that I'm not thinking about right now. If that is the case, you know, I'm okay with having this little open area here. It's not going to hurt my feeling too much, assuming I can get off of that guy right there. Okay, so let's come out here and just take a look how this end up. Ah, too far. There we go. Okay, so see, that actually to me is okay. We're going to modify this layout right here to make it not so blocky and chunky right there. So I tell you what, I have a little bit welding to do, a little bit to work on here. So I probably go ahead and do that off of camera since everybody can work on that. So I real quickly just going to fix some of the aesthetic things right here. And I'm probably going to go ahead and put the ceiling on this guy as well. And then when I'm ready to do the remote control type things, I will come back and we will have a talk about that. So I see you here just a moment. Okay. Then, so here we are on the inside. You see that I have kind of laid out the framework up here, at least for the exterior, excuse me, of the ship. I have not welded him in yet because in here it would be very, very dark if we did that. So you see kind of right here is where we are going to be having actually, I just thought of something. Okay, I have a few plates, but not very many. So yeah, but in here, this is where we're going to be having that white stripe that kind of runs across everything. And so that white stripe is what we're going to use as a frame of reference here for some of these spotlight guys. So we're just every other one, we're going to go ahead and put in a little bit of the spotlight. And we'll do that We do that primarily is because we need the lighting in here. So what we do, the other thing we're going to do while we is here, we're going to think about where we want to actually go ahead and put our antennas. Because we are going to have the antenna in order to use the door from the small ship. So let's go find, you know what, I don't know where it is. I don't usually do a lot with antennas. So let's go find, there he is. There is that guy. We just placed all of the lights that we need, but we'll go ahead. We'll look at what the antenna guy here going to look like. So he can actually go. Let me pop out of my guy here. Let's see if we can get him. Okay, so he is actually a good-sized thing going on here. I don't know. Do we really want him in here? Maybe we has to do it regardless. We need 40 of the radio communication component in order to build the data, guys. So we're going to have to do a little bit building here, look like. So I tell you what, we are going to go ahead and lay him in here just like that across that, so the radio transmitter go right there. What we're going to do now, it occurred to me that while we was looking at the rotor that I don't really need him to go ahead and open as far as we had him going. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this upper limit here, we're going to move that upper limit down to about 87 or so. We don't need the door to come out perfectly, but we do need the door at least to open. So let's go ahead, let's reverse the doors now. We're going to just be our way out, and now that you see the frameworks and everything, what we'll do is we will come in here with our little builder ship. We're going to put a couple block, I think, just along the top guy right here. I put the one lamp too far maybe, but that's okay, we leave him there. We're just going to put the other ceiling blocks on while this guy open up. And let's go get the blue, and here we go. So now along this edge I can just go ahead. Oh, I ran out of the plate. Actually, you know, I don't think I really wanted the blue on the inside, do I? I think what I really want is the white, but I'm going to run out of blocks anyway, so we're not to do that right now. Okay, so here we go on to the outside. You see that the door is open, and the reason we've set it at 87 and not 90 is just in case that we do damage to these guys right here. I didn't want to have any rebound where we was going to actually injure those things. So I set it just below 90 so that he has no reason to ever go and touch any of those blocks over there. That's what I was really aiming at. So, okay there. Well, we get a little bit of things here. I'm going to kind of help out my inventories a little bit. I'm just trying to come over here. We're going to tag this guy real quick. We put in the components that I has into him. I'm not have all the component, but that helped empty out of my inventory. And now one other thing we do real quick, we're going to come over here. We're going to need 40 of those radio component. So let's go ahead into the production. Let's go ahead into, let's say, the assembler 3s. And for the radio component guy, let's go ahead and make 40 of him. There we go. So let's see here. Let's see here. So as you see, then we has lots of the welding left to do. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to weld here across the top of this ship. I'm just going to get all of the lighting on the interior of this guy kind of set up. And then when I'm ready to actually deal with the radios down here, when I'm actually ready to kind of finish off the conveyor system here on the inside of the ship, then I will bring you all back and we'll do a little bit of recording then. So okay, see you in a moment.